take.
And issues a bit further, and I'm joined by Dr. John Torchiori, who is an associate professor at the Gerald R. Ford School of Public Policy at the University of Michigan. He is joining us this morning from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Joining us from Washington, D.C. is Dr. Sean McFate, who is a professor at Georgetown University. He's also the author of The New Rules of War. And joining us from Ottawa, Ontario, is Irfan Yar, who is the founder and managing director, of the Afghanistan Security Institute, ASI. Irfan, Sean, and John, thank you to all three of you for your time this morning. Irfan, what are your thoughts on that? I know that you study Afghanistan very, very closely and you have connections to it. Was this war worth it, especially now that we're speaking in the year 2021 about the U.S. walking away?
Well, in my opinion, of course not. It was not worth it at all. Invading Afghanistan was not just a mistake. I think it was one of the biggest blunder in the American history, simply because it did way more bad than it did good. And just like 20 years ago, President Bush ordered the invasion of Afghanistan from the same treaty room where Biden ordered the exit of Afghanistan. Like after 20 years, the war is going nowhere. It started with the Taliban, and now it seems that it will end with the Taliban. So it did not really go anywhere except that massive amount of treasure was spent and hundreds of thousands of people were killed until the day the violence, is escalated. And U.S. also admits this mistake. U.S. Secretary Antony Blinken, recently stated in New Delhi that the Afghanistan war has no military solution. So my question is what they were doing for the 20 years. So like after 20 years, they realized that there is no military solution for the Afghan conflict. And this is the proof that they also, the high-level official also admit that it was a mistake. And what does it show? I think it showed that the Bush administration, miscalculated the consequences of going to, Afghanistan, or maybe his decision was, to more based on emotional to give, a response to the American collective psychological need for the revenge of September 11 attack.
And other regions. I think this maximalist approach in U.S. foreign policy, and I'd agree with my colleague in Ontario, has been one of the worst failures of American foreign policy in modern history, not the entire history, but in modern history. And it has weakened U.S. standing around the world. It has cost American blood and treasure, and it's cost a lot of blood in those regions and destabilized the Middle East. It's destabilized parts of South Asia. We know that for a fact. Could it have been more stable or less stable?